Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome, Pond Elf. I haven't seen you in the chat in like forever. Welcome to another stream, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you guys are subscribing. We just finished that Chelsea's watch along. You get me? A lot of things happened in that watch along right there, but we're not going to look back at it. You get me? So slap the like button, subscribe to the channel, keep getting involved in the chat, keep letting me know your opinions, keep getting stuck in. You get me? I want to hear all you guys' opinions. And yeah, joining me first and foremost, the man, the myth, the legend, the English version of myself, Jazza is in the building. How are you doing, Jamie?
I'm good, boss. How are you?
Boss. Wow, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Boss. Fuck. Hey, fairs. This guy should be calling me boss. He's never called me boss before. Absolute iconic mustache. Man like Mike. Hi, Mike.
I'm not ever calling you boss. I'm not ever calling you boss. But big up everybody. Big up everybody.
Fairs. MMA fighter, footballer, content creator, world champion, kickboxing champion in the United Kingdom. Legend joining us on the channel. And like JJ. I think JJ, mate.
I'm good, man. What's going on? Boxing, not kickboxing. Not kickboxing.
Oh,
but yeah.
close enough.
Close enough. But yeah,
Close.
big up.
Big up to you. Big up to you.
Big up.
Reigning at 6'5", troublemaker across Liverpool YouTube. Kmack. How you doing, Kmack, mate?
I'm good. Hope everyone's well.
Big up, you guys. Listen, big up to everyone locked in. Already 500 people in here. We haven't even started the stream yet. Please do hit that like button. Do subscribe right here, right now. Every single one of you, please, right now, slap the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're ready to do so. And as always, I always remind you of this, guys, because you always message me. Every single link of anyone who comes on our channel is in the description. Jamie Phillips Football Chats is in the description. The Kmack channel is in the description. Mike Das LFC is in the description. And Jerry James Show is also in the description. Maybe he makes a comeback one day on YouTube, so his channel is ready. So please like, share, comment, subscribe. And I'm just going to get straight into it. First topic of the day. Oh, here we go. Oh, God. Anyway, first topic of the day. Is it possible for us to get Isak and Rodrygo both together? And I want to start Jamie off for this topic, and then we'll open the floor up.
Why not? I can hear someone's telly, by the way. I swear I can.
Teddy.
Telly.
Someone's
TV.
Television. Someone's got some background.
I can hear
Mine
background.
has no audio, nothing.
Yeah,
Neither do mine.
No, I see Liverpool buying both. Yeah, I think Rodrygo can happen. Why not? You know, it looks like Rodrygo, from his standpoint, is that Alonso's not going to play him. I think someone said in the 7 games Alonso's took charge already. He's only played 93 minutes. You know, and he played 0 minutes in their opening game of the season as well. So it looks like Alonso, for whatever reason it is just not in his plans going forward. So, yeah, like there's a lot of rumours about it right now. And I think, you know, you've got to be an elite level side probably for Rodrygo to leave Real Madrid. And I think Liverpool probably one of them sides that Rodrygo would leave Real Madrid for. You know, the news out there at the moment is that Liverpool want to buy a left winger. You know, that's the news. What everyone wants. You know, you talk to Liverpool fans, social media asking what they want. And a lot of people want another left winger to replace Diaz. So, you know, why not? Why not? I don't think it's going to be as expensive as everyone thinks it's going to be. I reckon you can probably get in between 70 and 75 million. Liverpool have sold a lot of players and are still selling players. The money's there for my position, my opinion. So, yeah, why not? The exact deal will happen after the Monday game. I think that's pretty obvious now. And yeah, why not? Give me Guehi, give me them all, man. The money's there. We have sold all these players for no reason. You know, we're limiting the squad. We're thinning the squad out because Liverpool want more marquee players and your Ben Dokes and stuff like that. No disrespect to Ben Dokes of the world and that, but they want to get them off the books and make money off them so they can buy marquee players in these positions because they want a marquee squad. That's what we were told at the beginning of the season. Marco Edwards and Richard Hughes are only looking at marquee level players now that fit into Liverpool. So Why not? I don't see a problem with it. Go for it. The money's there. They've made enough money from sales. Let's go.
I think what's really interesting with Rodrygo is it looks like he's only been guaranteed a short amount of time on the pitch, but he's only being picked as a right winger under Alonso, and he's came out and said specifically, I want to play left wing now. Like, I've waited long enough. And I think what's really interesting with the Rodrygo thing as well is it's a player we've been linked with for ages. And I know everyone's been going, nah. But there are rumours that we actually met his agent in New York, like while they were playing over there. Like, I don't know whether that's true, but it seems like something Liverpool probably would have done because they've met a lot of players' agents and players months and months before we've actually made any moves on them. You know, same with Cherky, same with Wirtz, same with Ekitike. You know, we've met all of those guys way before we bought them. So I think with this one, I just don't know whether he's an option in case we don't get Isak or whether he is a genuine another player coming in. Because it's been said by loads of reporters now that Liverpool were willing to flex over 500 million. And that takes you over 500 million, like there or thereabouts. And it's also been noted that Liverpool are looking for forwards and a forward that can play in multiple positions. Well, Isak's not that forward. He's a number 9. Rodrygo is, which makes you think, is it literally A, B, and C left? You know, Isak, Rodrygo, and Guehi, and that's it. I mean, for me, I think we've completed the transfer window if we get those 3.
I don't think it's dependent on us though. Like I don't think could is the right phrase of question because financially, yeah, I mean 100% we could do that. The issue is will. Based on what I'm seeing from Newcastle, they can't even give a proper bid for Wisa. Like they can't even get the guy from Wolves, Larson, to move from a bona fide relegation side to Newcastle. My issue is not us. My issue is everything but us. It's what we cannot control. We can't control who Newcastle buys. We can't control how they spend their money. And unfortunately, every day that passes is another day that I just tick off a percentage point of this transfer happening. As much as I would like it, unfortunately, I feel that because of Newcastle's lack, it won't happen. It's not, but I would say I could see us putting another bid in, maybe 130 million pounds, just to kind of, you know, show Isak, hey, listen, I put the record of all records of British transfer fees to try to get you, just so that relationship isn't tarnished. I think that we have to. We owe it to Isak because we've dragged this out for so long. But I mean, to me, it seems that Newcastle have made it very adamant that they just don't care. And ultimately, Isak is there. He is contractually obligated to step on that pitch for them. And every game he doesn't, he's losing money. And for all of the other intangibles, whatever. If we get Rodrygo, do we have the money for it? 100%. And if Isak really does go away, then it becomes even more realistic, because why wouldn't Rodrygo want to come here? He would seemingly be put directly into the left wing position. And I think that his tandem with the likes of Florian Wirtz and Ekitike, those triangles would be unbelievable. Not to mention add Kirkes into the mix once he decides to play football and not play ring around the rosy and run with his, head off. But to me, not about could. And I'd love to take Rodrygo and Guehi, and I'd be perfectly happy, right? I've said it for weeks. The center back position to me is the most paramount thing, not another attacker. I think that we scored 86 goals last season with Darwin Núñez. I think that Ekitike himself could probably make up for Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz based on what I saw that first game, especially if Wirtz starts kicking off. But what I don't want to see what I don't want to see happen is us sit on our hands hoping that Newcastle get their shit together, because that's not in our control. I want the club to make the right decision, and I don't want them to dilly-dally. But yeah, we'll see. Anything's possible, but I don't see that one happening. anymore.
JJ?
You're left, Jerry.
No, I'm just bored of this stuff now, man.
Yeah, I know.
If I'm going to be honest, like I just can't. Like, Isak is what it is. Like, if Newcastle don't want to sell, they won't sell. Ultimately, if Liverpool want him, you're gonna have to pay his asking price, whatever that is, from Newcastle. And I don't really know what it is. It's rumored 150 million, maybe it's less. But until Liverpool put that money up, they're not gonna sell. Probably more inclined to sell if they get a striker. But the way he's operated, the way, I mean, Liverpool really haven't followed up with a bid like that. We dropped the one bid, didn't really drop the next bid to increase it if we're willing to pay, as Kmack said, willing to pay 500 M's. We'd obviously value Isak at a certain amount. We won't go over that certain amount. So yeah, it is what it is. And then with Rodrygo, I mean, look, it could happen, but you'd have to, I don't know, is Rodrygo up for rotating with Gakpo, or does he want to go somewhere and be a starting left winger? If that's the case, then you've got another player on the bench now who, based on, I mean, what Tom Little says, is the best left winger in the Prem. So, I mean, is he going to be comfortable just being on the bench, considering it's a World Cup year? He's probably going to, at bare minimum, want to have that rotating system that he had with Diaz last year, and whether Rodrygo wants that is another question. But I think to Mike's point, I think the centre-back's more important. I think Guehi's you have to get that one over the line. I just think from a depth standpoint, and I think we need to get it forward. And look, if Liverpool get Isak at the end of the day or Rodrygo, like, we're fine, cool. If we don't get neither, and we end up just with what we've got, then I think, yeah, I mean, a couple months down the line, we'll be having therapy again for some. I mean, there'll be serious therapy, because
I think you've been working with Mo so much that he's corrupted your mind. Like,
No,
I don't think,
I don't
because
think so. I
Mo's
think-
very fraudulent and he knows it. I don't think we have to pay the Isak valuation. I think that's nonsense. Because
No, I'm not saying we have to pay it, but I'm
hear
saying
me out. When you
Go on.
talk about valuation, just because Newcastle want 150 doesn't mean we have to pay 150. Just like we wanted 100 for Diaz, and we ended up not paying 100 for Diaz, not selling Diaz for 100. Just like we wanted 70 for Nunes, we did not sell Nunes for 70. So all this, like, the selling club wants price X. You don't have to pay the same exact number. You get me, that the selling club wants. That's just the truth. So you can always negotiate. And for the 1 millionth time, we've been gaslit by all the rivals, by everyone who can't read between the lines. It's so obvious, given even what Craig Hope said today, that Isak informed Newcastle and he told them, I want to leave this summer. And they had like some form of gentleman agreement. They had some form of conversation, and they have not went through with it. That's just the problem. That's the issue. Like, they have just not went through with it. They haven't done it, to be honest with you. And it's on Newcastle. Newcastle are the bad guys here, not Isak. Newcastle can't get a signing in to save their life. And that audacity today of Craig Hope to come out and say, if Liverpool actually let Newcastle get ekitike, Isak will be a Liverpool player. Yeah, but that wasn't what you yourself was tweeting at the time. You yourself said Isak and ekitike to play with each other. And all of a sudden, 2 months later, you're like, by the way, if Liverpool let us have ekitike, yeah, but like, Liverpool were willing to do that. Why are we changing the narrative 2 months later? Liverpool were literally willing, if we got Isak, to just let Newcastle get ekitike. But that's not the message coming out of Newcastle. They wanted them to play together. So Liverpool were like, nope, I'm not going to do this, because I think our club suspected this happens. And I'll tell you what I mean. Now, with ekitike here, we can pivot. If ekitike wasn't here, we can't pivot.
And that's why we did it. That's why we did it.
Exactly. Yeah. And
you either get one or none. Like you either get one or none. And we must have sat there and gone, hang on a minute.
Which one are we more likely to get? Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it works.
And clearly ekitike is their player. And I'm not saying
we've been speaking to him since January. That was never ever going to happen with Newcastle.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. That's just unfortunate, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. But going back to what I was saying, Hassan, like, yeah, I agree. Like, it doesn't have to be that amount, and that's why I said it doesn't matter what the amount is. But ultimately, the amount that Newcastle decide is just logical. The amount they decide to sell him for is what Liverpool have to bid. So within the negotiations, Liverpool have bid once that we know of, right? Maybe they've bid more, but they haven't bid 115. They haven't bid 120. They haven't gone up to 130. They have not put another bid in. So clearly, we have not met whatever valuation.
But what's the condition of the second bid? Encouragement.
Yeah, but ultimately, right? So ultimately, the way I feel it is, if you want a player like that and you value, let's say hypothetically, Liverpool think Isak's worth 200 million, right? I'm pretty sure you put 150 on the table, Newcastle eat that up. I don't envisage a situation where Newcastle say no, because if we go towards that kind of way of thinking and that kind of direction, right? Then ultimately we're saying that Newcastle are just not going to sell, which is they're not, whether they're bad guys, good guys, whatever you want to call them, they're just never going to.
They don't have to.
Right?
They don't have to.
Exactly.
They don't have to. He's going to play. He's just not. He's not going to sit out for an entire season.
Exactly. So on the premise,
can I just mention something?
Yeah, one second. But on the premise that we think Newcastle would sell, right? Then we'd have to meet whatever they want, whatever. And the encouragement is, we'd have the encouragement. They would have gone and said, no, we're only going to entertain a figure of this. We haven't touched that, so therefore he's not a Liverpool player, and it's as simple as that. So,
do you think there's an element here of, obviously we've got a really shrewd director of football who goes into a room and commands the room. You've all heard the stories about Bayern Munich literally falling over themselves and just agreeing to anything that Richard Hughes said for Luis Diaz. He's just read the room. That's what he's done. He's walked in and read the room and gone, hang on a minute, this is hostile. Like, we put a massive bid in here. Alexander Isak's representatives have clearly said to Liverpool, Newcastle have said that if you offer over 100 million, then they will negotiate, because that's the gentleman's agreement which was had with Isak and Amanda Staveley or whoever, because nobody knows what the hell's going on at Newcastle behind the scenes.
You can't base your life
and
on
that's what
gentlemen's
Liverpool have gone
agreements.
in with, because that's all been noted, that Liverpool went in with such a high offer because they genuinely felt they would get somewhere with that offer. It might start negotiations, it might end negotiations, like as in get you a deal done. But the fact that Newcastle was so hostile.
Apparently today, did you read the report that Isak thought that 100 million would get it done?
Yeah.
Did you see that report?
So what did they base that on?
That's what the Newcastle journalist came out and said.
There's one angle that no one's really talking about, and it's that
aliens.
maybe. But for as good as our transfer window has been, we've been sitting on our hands for a month and a half, and during this time, we were linked to Guehi in June, and now Eze has been sold. So that automatically drives the price of Guehi up. You think that Crystal Palace, on the back of winning the FA Cup, are just going to be like, hey, tits up, boys. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Season's over. Eze's gone. Guehi's gone. Bada bing, bada boom. We'll just wait 20 more years until we get another trophy. Absolutely not. You could have gotten that over the line 2 months ago, but you're sitting on your hands over what? Now, if you're going to sit here and tell me that the difference is the 130 to 110, well, if my math's correct, that's not even a 20% increase. That's not even a 15% increase. Like, we're pinching fucking pennies here.
Yeah.
We just won the lot. Well, I'm sorry, we didn't win the lot, but we just made a whole lot of spend is below Manchester United, but we're going to penny pinch over the 10%. All I'm saying is that what I don't want to see happen is this stagnate, us lose the opportunity to get Guehi, and then I got to rely on an 18-year-old from Italy to just hopefully come good enough so that by the time January rolls around, I can readdress some of these situations. That's not to discredit the previous window, though, because we have been superb up until this point.
Like,
go ahead, Jamie.
With the Guehi stuff, Guehi will happen. He'll be a Liverpool player. Steve Parish basically came out and said so. Steve Parish said, like, if he doesn't sign a new contract, we have to sell him because we got PSR concerns, even with Eze leaving. So they're going to have to sell him. They can't afford to let Mark Guehi leave on a free. They have to get something back in return to guarantee money to help them with PSR. So they're not, unfortunately for Crystal Palace, they're not in that, like, where Liverpool can let a player go for free and it's not financially going to hurt them. Like, it will financially hurt Crystal Palace even with the sale of Eze. So I think Mark Guehi will happen. You know, I don't blame football clubs for trying to get the money for a player that they want the player for, you know, as part of negotiation. So Liverpool want Guehi for 35 million with a year left in his contract. They might value Mark Guehi at a 60 million pound footballer. So with a year left in his contract, they probably think a 35 million price for him is the right valuation. So, but Crystal Palace are then in their own right to go, you know what, we actually want 40. So you have a little discussion and talk between the two of them, and you eventually settle for like 37.5 with add-ons or something mad like that, and then you get it done. So I think it will get done. The Isak thing, look, everything I've been reading about this Isak stuff, I think Liverpool put in a British record transfer fee of £110 million guaranteed and then £10 million in add-ons because they thought that was his valuation. They went straight in what they believe was their valuation. How quick Newcastle knocked them back is what has made Liverpool go, whoa, because they believe they met the valuation. You know, they've obviously spoken to Isak and his representation and things like that. They obviously got encouragement from Newcastle to go for the bid anyway, and that's why they put a British record fee in that had never been seen in British football history. So they believed that was his valuation, what he was worth, and what they believed Newcastle were asking for at the time. But they knocked it back extremely quickly, and now you hear a lot of numbers being made up by people like this imaginary £150 million number that I've never heard once come out from Newcastle. It's just journalists. Newcastle's statement after the Isak statement pretty much told me that he's still for sale if they meet the price. That's basically what
yeah, it was a weak statement.
But to that point, but
I don't know what the price is. This is the thing. I don't know what the price is.
Right? But to your point then, Jamie, right? This is what my point was, is Liverpool valued him and they haven't done anything wrong. They value him at 110 plus 10 or 120 total, right?
Yeah.
If they don't value him at 150, Liverpool never pay over the...
they won't pay 150. I think
they won't pay 150.
No,
so I think anyone, yeah.
To be fair, based on what you're saying, right?
No one would.
120, they won't pay 125. Liverpool will not go over, out and beyond for a player they don't value at a certain amount. So, of course, if Liverpool value Isak at 150 but try to be cheeky with 110, then yeah, they might go in with another bid. We've done this before. We've bid for someone 20 mil, no... all right, we end up paying 25 plus 5, whatever, cool. But if we don't value him at 150, Liverpool are never going to pay 150. So are we in for Isak?
Okay, I'll tell you this, but let me just address this real quick because I'm trying my best to just not be rattled. Promise was made about the contract, not this transfer. Stop lying. Where have you been? Where have you been for the last 3 days? All this information that's been released shows us the exact opposite. The problem is Tandiso is not a Liverpool fan. He's a United fan. And every single rival fan I've spoken to is purposely being obtuse, just suddenly lost all the ability to read between the lines, just lost all their intelligence when it comes to this specific debate right here. Look at the statement that Isak put out. Look at the shit that Craig Hope's been saying and everyone's been saying. Clearly, Eddie Howe today came out and said that him and Isak have had a conversation. Now, I'm sure he didn't go to Eddie Howe to renew his contract. So what conversation that could have been? So the promise was about the contract and him leaving this summer. Both. Like and subscribe, chat. We got 1,200 people in here. We're only about 500 likes yet. So my thing is, like, when it comes to this conversation, people keep bringing up the value, and no one's addressing the elephant in the room, which is the 2 replacements. I watched Jamie on a Newcastle channel yesterday. I was on the chat. I saw what even... I'm gonna destroy this mosquito. I'm gonna kill you if you come close to me again. Anyway, so I watched what even the Newcastle guy was saying. Till this day, yesterday, even the Newcastle fan was like, the only way we let Isak go is if we sign a Isak replacement and a backup striker. And I'm just sat here going like, does he realize it's 23rd August? Like, does he actually realize the date?
But he doesn't have to. But he doesn't have to let him go. Like, that's the thing. They have the advantage here. Like,
they don't know. They don't know.
They don't have the advantage
because the problem with the Isak situation with Newcastle right now, if they want Isak to stay and Isak's going to stay, they're going to have to give Isak a new contract to keep his valuation at what they want to keep his valuation at. To do that, they're going to have to give Isak what he wants in wages to stay. Now, with Isak being promised everything apparently about a wage and a contract, Newcastle have to go 250, 300 grand a week to keep Isak, yeah, to sign a new deal. If they do that, fair, all fair, love and war, it is what it is, yeah. If they can't do that, his valuation drops in the January transfer market and in next summer's market. His valuation drops. So Newcastle got to think about it this summer in the next 10 days, where they're like, do we accept 130 million? It's not 150, but is anyone seriously going to pay that? But we get 130 million for him, because next summer, with 2 years left of his contract, we might only get 100 million for him, maybe a little bit less. And if he doesn't sign a new contract, we've got a player now who's very unhappy with us and doesn't want to be here. And he's made that public statement put out there. And if we don't give him a new contract, he's going to play for us, yeah. But his valuation will go down every single year he's here, unless he signs a contract. So I think
it depends on what Newcastle decide to do, though, isn't it? Because if they feel as though keeping Isak, right, enables them to go and get top four, whatever their target is, top four trophy, maybe go far into the Champions League. I don't know what their targets are as a club, because I'm not really interested in Newcastle, right? But if that's one of their targets, then they'll just look at it and be like, oh, the amount of money we make up for staying here outweighs the 130 that we're going to get over 5 years anyway, because Liverpool aren't going to pay 130.
Is his head in the right place, though, to do what you're doing?
I think as a footballer, going to Mike's point, there'll come a point, right, where the amount of money he's losing, right, it's like, I just need to play. And for him, for his sake, he's going to want to go and do it in him. He's not going to go on the pitch and be like, no, I'm not going to score this tap in. I'm not going to play well, because ultimately what happens is the valuation of him and what clubs see in him will drop if that happens. He's got to go and perform the way Coutinho did, the way Suarez did, the way loads of players have done when they've wanted a move and didn't get it and still went and performed really, really well. And I think he probably would. And he scores a couple of goals. Newcastle fans are happy. Like, it is what it is. Like,
can I just mention something on that? He's never going to play for Newcastle again. He said it. You can't backtrack on stuff like that. Like,
he will.
If
he stays, he will
never ever play for their clubs again.
Tevez said that at City, and I'm sure he played.
Jay, it's not just that. Like, you've got Joe Linton liking posts that are literally calling him a greedy bastard. Like, you've got his own players of his own team against him now. Like, this is a really, really toxic situation, which Newcastle have caused themselves, by the way. And the reason why I'll say that is because Liverpool have done two things. Yeah. On the 15th of July, we put out a statement saying that we were interested in Alexander Isak, and we're allowed to do that because it's the transfer window. Okay. Then the 1st of July, we put £110 million bid in cash with 10 million add-ons. That's all Liverpool have done. That's all we have done as a club. We've done nothing else at all. We haven't mentioned statements. We haven't talked about him. Arne Slot's been asked about him consistently, and he's never said a word. Okay? Liverpool have been impeccable in the way we've dealt with this situation. They have been an absolute joke. And the reason why this whole incident, which is what he put on his social media, broken promises, is because he doesn't trust his own club. Because last year, he went to the director of football and said, I'm ready to sign a new contract on new terms. And they said no. And they said no because we had PSR issues and we're not renewing any contracts. 2 months later, Anthony Gordon got a 50% pay rise from 3 million to 7 million. 2 months later, Alexander Isak just looked at that and thought, you're lying to me. You're lying to me. As a club, you are lying to me.
That's conjecture,
lost from that moment on. And it's never been gained. And he's never said otherwise. He's always said to Eddie Howe, I'm going. It's been going on for a year. Go and look into it, everyone. Go and look at the timeline.
I don't want to dive into like assumptions and conjecture based on why or why not. All I'm saying is that we all agree that 150 million pounds is unrealistic, right? That's what you set it for, so that you get something a little bit lower, right? That's the same exact thing as real estate. If I say my house is for sale for $3 million, that doesn't mean that any offer a penny under is unacceptable. It means that we can negotiate, right? It's called a low ball or a door in the face. We, in Newcastle's eyes, threw a low ball. To me, to Jamie's point, if Mark Guehi is what we value as 35 million because he has a year left on his contract, I would say, okay, if we were to get Guehi and Isak, and we got Isak for 130, and we got Guehi for 45, 10 more than we wanted to pay for Guehi, and 20 more for what, or I guess it would be 10 more for what we wanted to pay for Isak. You're telling me that 20 million pounds in this situation is what's making or breaking the deal between getting the two players that you really need? To me, I'm just like, if you're willing to spend that money, we know you have it, just do it. At this same thing with Mark Guehi. I have no issue if we spend 45 million pounds on Guehi with a year left, because I know he's going to re-sign. And if I overpay by 10, it is what it is, because I understand that 10 is worth so much for what I have this season. That 10 extra million for Guehi will make itself up, compound tenfold throughout for the depth that he's going to provide. It's the same thing with Isak. That 20 extra million pounds that I'm spending right now will more than likely make up tenfold, because if I spend 30 extra million and I end up winning a double next year, or I go back to back in the Premier League, or I win the Champions League, that makes it worth it. So to me, it's like, yes, we could talk about Newcastle, we could talk about East, but at the end of the day, if we're talking about 20 million pounds here for two players who turn me into an actual colossus, a Galactus in football, then just pay the extra money, deal with it, pay the premium, pay the luxury.
Unless
you're missing the point on the Guehi one. They want 55 million for Guehi, and they've never budged. We value him at 20, we value him at 30 million, by the way.
Exactly. So
the reason why
what matters more?
2 seconds. The reason why Liverpool value Mark Guehi at 30 to 35 million is because that's what we've been offered for Konate, who also has 1 year left on his contract. It makes perfect sense that we're sat there going, hang on a minute. If we're being offered 35 million for Konate,
but with 1 year left on his
deal.
No, but guys, you're like, look, Liverpool aren't doing anything wrong. You can value your player at whatever you want them to value it at. You can value him at 5 million if you think so. I don't know how there's obviously some mechanics and there's an Excel spreadsheet that calculates values, and there's formulas that dictate what players are valued at. 100% cool, right? It could be 30, it could be 20 million. Ultimately, if Newcastle aren't budging, you're going to have to go and get closer to that figure to get the player. It's as simple as that. If I'm not,
you got to raise the price. You got to raise the price.
So unless you feel, and this is how Liverpool move and they've operated like this, they don't pay above what they value a player for. So if Liverpool are like, max we will go to is 130, but the discussions are, no, we actually want 150, hypothetically, because I don't know the numbers. Liverpool aren't going to get the player because they're not going to want to sell unless it hits a certain amount. Same with Guehi.
Yeah, but then Newcastle are idiots.
Yeah, no, they're not. No, they're not idiots. It's their asset. Whatever they decide to do with their asset.
Okay, perfect. I'm so glad you said it's their asset. Do you agree that their asset is going to leave anyway?
Yeah. But if they, but this is my,
their asset gets cheaper in January, and then it gets even more cheaper in the summer.
Yes, but this is why I go back to my point. If Newcastle decide, and this is what they'll decide as a club, right? And whether it's rubbish, it's good, we'll only know in the future. But if they decide, you know what, what's riskier? Going and doing a Tottenham where we get all this money and then we've just got to go buy and hope it comes together, or do we go and just look at the squad that we've got, maybe only get a whistle and say, you know what, Isak, you're staying with us until the summer. You are. Isak's going to have to perform at one point. Yeah, right?
Okay, I'm going to ask you an objective question. If they let him until the summer stay, how much are they going to sell him for? Be honest.
90 million.
Okay, great.
What?
So
and if they get Champions League.
Everyone's using examples. I'll give you an example. An actual genuine example. This is like comparing a car to a piece of land. A car, the moment you buy it, is a depreciating asset. The price, by the way, big up to LB for the raid. Big up to everyone who just joined us from It's LB. Make sure guys are liking and subscribing. Everyone just hit the like button, subscribe. We got 1,600 people in here. Let's get to 500 likes, 600 likes. Let's compare Isak and Rio Gomoa. Okay? Isak's value currently, according to Newcastle, is 150 million. Okay? The reason why it's a depreciating asset is because that asset contract years is running down. So it's currently 3 years left. As of next summer, it's 2 years left. The summer after that, it's 1 year left. So the number is going down step by step by step by step. And That 130 million that Liverpool are willing to pay, as reported by Keith Downey, versus the 90 million that you said, which I agree with, 90 million next summer, that 40 million on Newcastle's PSR FFP books makes a difference. I mean, you both know that. Because if you get an
100%.
incoming of 130 million, of which Liverpool did say that I think it's going to be 90 million guaranteed or something like that. I think it was like, no, actually, I think it was 60 million. It was 50 million guaranteed. No, not 50. It was 60 million guaranteed and then 60 million guaranteed and then the 10 on add-ons or something like that. So it was like guaranteed.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why that helps Newcastle is because you take that 60 million and you go like, okay, Jacob Ramsey, they just bought him 40 million, right? 5-year contract, 8 million per year. Okay, so now I'm good. I'm good for the Jacob Ramsey transfer. I'm good for Thiaw. And guess what? You can do 5 or 6 Thiaws and Ramseys, overall improve the squad, be a lot better, and be a stable Champions League club. Now look at Rio Gomoa in reverse. Let's say Rio Gomoa has signed a 6-year contract, right? He's an appreciating asset. He's more and more expensive. He's the piece of land because I invested in him as he's a 17-year-old, he's a 16-year-old. Already, by the way, how much did Liverpool buy him for? How much? What, like 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, whatever?
1 million, something like 2 million. Yeah.
No exaggeration. He's probably already worth 7-8. I'm not even going to exaggerate. 7-8 million.
I agree.
Easily.
Probably.
Yeah, 7-8 million. So that's an asset that's increasing in price. If you're in Newcastle's position, do you risk keeping an unhappy player who doesn't want to perform for your football club and possibly be in a position where you're in a lose-lose? Because if he's here, you don't really have a striker. You have him, but you don't have him. And if he leaves, you don't have a striker, but you have the money at least to go invest.
Well, this is the point, right? Going to the point, just to your analogy, because everything you've said is 100%. Now, let's use the car as an example. You might have a car that's a depreciating asset. But if you think and you feel, you know what, even if I get that money, right, I can't get a car that's the same value or the same worth or the same quality, right? For whatever reason that is, because negotiations are crap, because we haven't got a director of football. There's loads of reasons as to why we could go and say that. Newcastle might take a calculated risk and say, how did Liverpool do last season with just a solid squad and not really making too many changes, right? They actually done really well. They won the league, right? So they'll look at that and be like, you know what? What's easier to do? Reintegrate this so-called unhappy player where Eddie House has discussions with him. The club would have had discussions with him. Forget what's been talked about, right? They would have had communications. Would they say, you know what? It may be easier to reintegrate in Isak and the gamble of keeping in Isak. Well, for them, clearly, that's the decision they'll make. Is it easier to reintegrate Isak right now? Whether it works, but this is my point. It's all obviously.
You're walking into the dressing room already divided about it. Already.
No, they are. But if Isak comes back and they're like, you know what, and he scores his goals, and if he scores his goals,
it's not that deep, guys.
But that's my point. If he comes in and this,
you've got some main players at the club who don't like him now.
All right, wait. They don't like him because of this one thing he's done. Cool. But what I'm saying,
they get paid to kick a ball.
Yeah, this is my point. Once he goes and scores his goals, or once they go and brings him in, right? And if that happens, and this is again, we don't know because it could all go tits up. But if he comes back and Newcastle somehow get Champions League again and go far in the Champions League, the amount of money they would have acquired by doing that would probably outweigh the 130 million that you're going and speaking about. And that's the gamble that Newcastle will go and make. And Eddie Howe proposes, he will go and sit there and be like, actually, this is why I want to do this because I believe that this squad can do this. Of course, you could go and sign all these players. And to your point, you could strengthen the squad. And on paper, it could look great. But you could also do what Spurs did when they lost Bale and strengthen the squad, and it'd be crap. And Newcastle would be worse than they were last season because no one really replaces Isak's goals. And if Isak gets 15 goals this season, that's probably better.
They're going to be worse because of their lack of decision making and because of their incompetence in the transfer window. If we say that Isak is a truth sayer, and he actually did tell Newcastle guys, I want to leave. Let's assume the player is not lying. Let's just assume, okay, that the player is actually saying the truth, and he did tell Newcastle a long time ago that he wanted to leave. Newcastle by now could have signed a striker easily had they actually taken that seriously. But the problem is they got Eddie Howe's nephew as the sporting director, and they haven't been operating as a serious club at all. And actually, they've been shopping in the wrong places. They've been shopping in the areas where the big clubs wanted players as well.
I agree.
The problem is Malik Thiaw. He was wanted by Newcastle and Leverkusen. Okay, Newcastle are more attractive than Leverkusen. No problem. We agree with this. You look at Jacob Ramsey. Which other Big Six club wanted him? None. No other Big Six club wanted him. So it's an easy transfer to make. The problem is, I feel like Newcastle are trying to skip a step in the process. Already trying to fight Liverpool or City or United or whoever for a signing is the wrong way to go about things. I get it that you're trying to improve your club, but you have to improve your club by still shopping in that area. Like, you've got to be a non-selling Brighton, if that makes sense, where you go buy that £40 million player, and you will lose a player here and then. By the way, Liverpool Football Club, when Klopp walked in, was on 18 league titles and 5 Champions Leagues, and we didn't skip the process. Even we had to sell Coutinho.
The difference with them, but the difference with Newcastle though is Newcastle went and spent. They were in a position where they went and spent money and bought players like Bruno G that could have easily gone and went to Liverpool that summer. They bought players like Tonali that could have easily gone to go and any other player. They've gone and purchased players that are of a certain level. So Newcastle, to that point, and playing devil's advocate, they need to show.
That's not true. They took a gamble on all those players.
Yeah, Bruno Guimaraes was 25 million from Lyon. That's not true.
Yeah, no, he was, and that was a player that could have easily won.
They took the gamble on Guimaraes. They took the gamble on these players because other clubs.
Joe Linton was a gamble. All of these guys were a gamble.
No. Joe Linton at the time, yes, but from when they got the money, Tonali to sign Tonali,
they fronted up. Like they spent big on them.
That's my point. They spent big on them, right? So that's my point. Is that they spent big on them. They spent big on these players. These are players that could have easily. Tonali could have ended up at any of these clubs that we're speaking about. He could have ended up at Borussia Dortmund. He could have ended up at wherever. Bruno G could have ended up anywhere. He could have ended up at these clubs that we're speaking about. What I'm saying is that Newcastle, for their perspective, and again, I agree, they're shopping in the wrong market, right? That's from my perspective. But for them, they're probably trying to show ambition. They're trying to be like, no, we're going to go and try and get those players that everyone else is going for. Now it's gone tits up in their face. But if they ended up with Mbeumo and ended up with, do you know what I mean? In hindsight,
he was their main target.
That's my point. And if they ended up with those players, it'd be like, oh my God, what a window Newcastle have had. It's just not worked out that way. And Liverpool know about this because when we went for Bellingham, we didn't get him. When we went for Caicedo, we didn't get him. So do you know what I mean? It's what they're crap. They're not run correctly, but ultimately they are trying to show ambition in the way that they can. But I agree to your point. Newcastle aren't as attractive as Liverpool. So when you got Ekitike and he's got.
That's why I said they're shopping at the wrong places.
Well, then what market is shopping?
People we know in real life that make a certain amount of money and already want to spend like at a higher caliber. You know, like when they start making, and that's how people go broke. The problem with Newcastle is they just need more Jacob Ramseys. The problem with Newcastle is not Bruno Guimaraes or Tonali or Isak, Jerry. The problem with Newcastle is the likes of Joe Willock. They need to improve their floor. Their floor is Joe Willock. Their floor is players of that level that are nowhere near stable Champions League level players. So they need more Jacob Ramseys. They need more Malik Thiaws. And they could have done that from the start of the window, by the way. I'll give you 2 genuine examples right now. I'm not even bullshitting. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Mike, you just said no one cares they're paid to kick a ball about a player being cussed out by his own teammates. You think football is black and white without any emotion. So allow the eye roll thing. Let me just give 2 examples. The Brentford thing, 2 things. They said at the start of the window that as soon as one of Mbeumo or Wissa leaves, the other one's price increases. That was the news coming out of Brentford. So Newcastle sat on their ass up until August 23rd to sign Wissa. Why? Number 1. Number 2, when Man United were busy trying to buy Mbeumo, why didn't Newcastle go buy Sesko then and there? Because United didn't want Sesko at the time. United were busy negotiating Mbeumo. So now what?
They wanted Ekitike, They wanted Ekitike at the time.
Hey, but
they only want Jackson when Villa want him. Shock.
But that's my point. They're oh, go on, Mike. Sorry, go on.
What I don't understand, there's no point rehashing what Newcastle did or didn't do. The present moment is the present moment. The conditions of today are the conditions of today. Now, when I said that no one cares, they kick a ball for a living, you bet your ass that if Alexander Isak came back after September 1st and scored a goal, not a single fucking fan is going to boo. They're going to say, let's fucking go. Isak
the TIFO will come out.
I'm not doing this bullshit of like, it's deeper than football. It means more. Bro, these guys get paid $200,000 a week. Bruno Guimaraes will suck it the fuck up and will deal with the fact that Alexander Isak had a whole dilemma. Felipe Coutinho did the same thing. And then we sold him in January. And what did he do for the first half of that season? He was cooking. Right? Ain't nobody was saying shit about the fact that Barca was calling. because guess what? It's a present moment business. To me, what I don't understand is Hussam's analogy. Newcastle have a Lamborghini. They tried to go get a Maserati, right? Which isn't like, you know, the difference between a Lamborghini and a Maserati, it's significant, but I'm still driving a car where if you see it, you're like, yo, that guy makes bank, right? But if I drive a Lamborghini and I go to a 1995 Toyota Camry, you're going to say that I have no fucking money, you're a bum.
Yeah.
The issue right now is that Newcastle are in a position where they don't have any other option but a Toyota Camry. So what is a greater loss? The Lamborghini to the Toyota Camry, or waiting a year and going from the Lamborghini to a Maserati? At the end of the day, Isak is an asset. He is not going to put in a transfer request and give them all of his money and say, here you go, I'm paying it all back. He's not going to do that. Otherwise, he would have already done it. He's not going to not play in a World Cup year. He's not going to not play and completely destroy his value. Yes, Newcastle might lose 40, 50 million, but what would they lose if they signed Wissa, got rid of Alexander Isak, and came in 12th? They would lose so much more. How are you going to spend that 130 million when you're in 12th and the core of your team is destroyed? So like the issue that I have is that maybe I view it black and white.
Team, Mike, it's one player. One player.
Regardless, you're asking them to go from a Lamborghini to a Toyota Camry.
What Newcastle need to do is they need to build a team that can score bloody goals and not just one player. Because at the end of the day, they're still in a situation where there's one guy that scores all their goals. Like Alexander Isak.
And for the next 3 years, he'll have to do it if Newcastle say so. That's the unfortunate reality.
Players that can score goals. And that's what
he's there until 2028. Like there's nothing he can do.
Loads of teams are like that though. Like
Toyota Camry. No, they're not. They could have bought Ollie Watkins. They could have bought Ollie Watkins, who's a goal machine.
No point in sitting here and saying what they could have done. The fact is that they didn't do it.
So many players. They could have gone and got Victor Boniface, who's just gone to AC Milan on loan.
It doesn't
but
mean
maybe
anything.
no, but you're reading off names, right? You're reading off names. Maybe they don't want that one. That's like saying
they haven't even got a transfer strategy. They've got a manager who's just looking at players going, you know what, I like him. You know what, I like him. No transfer strategy whatsoever.
No, you're right. You're proposing again. They want the Maserati, and you're proposing. Oh look, there's a Lotus. Oh look, there's a Lexus. There's cool. There's loads of other players, but they want the Maserati. So unfortunately, all the things that you spoke about, clearly they don't want those players because they weren't linked to them. They don't want Boniface. So yeah, Boniface is available, but they didn't want him. They wanted Ekitike. They wanted Tesco. They wanted Mbeumo. They want Wissa. Those are the players that they want. So unless they get those players,
this exactly what he's saying matters, because unfortunately in a negotiation, it's not just the assets that are at play. It's your mentality and my mentality. It's your competency and my competency. If I'm trying to buy a piece of land from a real estate agent and that real estate agent is a moron, I'm probably not going to get a great deal because he doesn't know how to negotiate. And if I'm negotiating with Newcastle and they don't know what they're doing and they can't get their house in order, how am I possibly going to get a good deal? It doesn't make any sense because there's no competency. We're sitting here and we're analyzing this and we're giving Newcastle, like, we're saying they could have bought him, they could have bought him, they could have bought him, but they didn't. And they've proven that they're incompetent. So automatically the negotiation is imbalanced because I'm not dealing with a rational person on the other end. I'm dealing with someone who doesn't know who they are. Jamie, go ahead.
Look, I understand everyone's point. I look at the exact situation. I know a lot of people always bring up Coutinho and all that, and I get why, because what happened in January. In the summer, if we go summer for summer, Coutinho wasn't acting anything like Isak was, right? And that's why he got on with his football and played extremely well. The weeks up to January is when Coutinho went off the boil because he wanted to leave Liverpool to go to Barcelona in the January window. So, you know, Coutinho started pre-season. There was talks about Barcelona and stuff like that. Liverpool completely put it to bed. Liverpool's statement, if everyone remembers, Philip Coutinho is not for sale and we won't listen to any offers. He's priceless, basically. We continue this a shut deal. And
which is what Newcastle could have done.
And that's what Liverpool did with Coutinho. And Coutinho didn't kick up a stink like Isak's doing now. Isak's put out a statement saying, I don't want to be here anymore. Coutinho never did that, so he went on and played his football. When the weeks to January came up, that's when Coutinho turned, pretend he had an injury and all that stuff. Didn't want to play for Liverpool anymore. Club had to make excuses in interviews like Eddie Howe's doing now, and he went in January and he got his transfer. Liverpool, the big club, a bigger club than Newcastle, sold bigger and better players than Alexander Isak, and they let Coutinho go in the January. And I keep saying this about Isak, the way he's acting and performing right now, I don't particularly like. I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. I don't like it at all. But it's what he's doing to try and leave the football club. Liverpool, the thing that Isak's got a problem with now, and Newcastle might have a bit of an issue with. If Isak decides to stay at Newcastle, they're going to have to sit him down and do a contract to keep his valuation. You know, even if they get him in Champions League every year, Newcastle's money in return to a lot of the bigger clubs are not going to be big enough to just let Isak leave on a small valuation at the end of maybe a year or two before his contract runs out. So they're going to have to give him a new contract. The problem is the way he's kicked off and acted all summer, players like Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali are going to look at that and he's going to get this massive pay increase. And he acted that unprofessionally. They're going to look at it like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, we're super players. We're top players. We're probably better than Newcastle, to be fair, right? We could probably go and play for a top club, right? Like even bigger club around Europe than maybe what Newcastle is. You know, you're giving him, he's acted like that all summer, put out a statement saying, we don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. There's no trust between me and the football club anymore. And the best thing for us to do is part ways. But then you'll go reward him with a new contract. So this is quite a sticky position. And I think Liverpool know that as well. And to Mike's thing about the money situation, why haven't we gone this, why haven't we gone that? And it's a good point. I think Liverpool are looking at it and letting this play out and going, it wouldn't shock me after Monday's game, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, that Liverpool put a £130 million offer in. And then it's then, can Newcastle reject that? With everything that's going on, can Newcastle reject 130 million? And here's another thing. I know everyone's saying Newcastle ain't got strikers yet. They haven't got a striker now even with Isak at the club. And the problem they've got is if they do put Isak back in, and he says sorry for everything and all that, is Isak going to be the same Isak he was before this saga happened? And they still need strikers anyway. So even if they sold Isak, it ain't actually going to change much for their striking situation. So I think Liverpool are waiting and biding their time with everything going on in the background. And it won't shock me after Monday, because nothing could happen before Monday. Monday's atmosphere is going to be crazy as it is at St. James's because they feel hard done by. Could you imagine if the club let Isak go before Monday? The fans would be against the owners as well.
No. Never happening. Never happening.
So I wouldn't be surprised Wednesday or Thursday if Liverpool do make one final bid. And if it's accepted, it's accepted. If it's not, Liverpool might have to look at something.
Exactly, and that's the point. Because look, going back to the hypothetical, right? If Newcastle decide to just bite the bullet and say take 90 million that we just spoke about, we agreed on stream, right? They'd be making like 55% profit on the amount they spent on Isak anyway. So if PSI actually works out, so they we're looking at the idea of, oh my god, 130, they have to take it. 90 million to make what? That's 90, 50, 60, 32 million. You're looking at 32 million profit on a player that doesn't want to be there. That helps them get into the Champions League. That helps them do well in that competition because he wants to play Champions League football. And guess what? There's no guarantee he's going to play Champions League football if he doesn't leave this summer to go to Liverpool, really. So, like...
There's just one more thing.
People, sorry guys, my laptop charger decided to not work all of a sudden. I apologize.
It's all good. People keep bringing up Article 17. Some sources say yes, other sources say no. I believe it to 25. But regardless, I just want to clarify. I do think that Newcastle set up their own ass. I do agree with what you guys are saying in that they should have done this. They should have done that. They should have already sold Isak. If they had just come back to us on July 1st and said, hey, you know what? 110 is not enough, but if you give me 125 right now, cash, he's on the way for a medical, you probably would have had a much better chance of signing Sesko. And once you sign Sesko, you probably would have been able to get in Wisa on the board, ready to go, and you'd be in a much better situation. The issue is that they can't run themselves. I mean, when I talk to Newcastle fans, they look at the Jacob Ramsey thing as this is the dumbest thing ever. Why am I getting mid? And I'm also helping Aston Villa. I'm helping them get someone off their payroll. I'm giving them PSR money, and they're already in a better situation than I am. And I'm getting a player who isn't even good. Like, tell me, what does Jacob Ramsey add to make
Jacob
that?
Ramsey's a baller, man. He's a baller.
Yeah, he's a good player.
But he's
I'm just echoing. I'm echoing.
Okay, Mike, I hear your point. You're saying let's address what's happened already. The issue is, look, we can't ignore what's happened in the past if it shapes up what the future is going to look like. Because every time, and you've seen this probably even on your Twitter, every time a Newcastle journalist mentions Isak, the first statement is replacement this, replacement that, replacement this, replacement that, blah, blah. Like, how many times have you loaded up your Twitter, Mike, and the first thing you see is like one of Craig Hope, Keith Downey, whichever Newcastle reporter going like, oh, Newcastle are looking for a replacement for Isak. We're trying to sign Wissa. We're trying to sign yesterday, by the way, 2 days ago. Strand Larson, again, same thing. So that's the issue for me. The problem is Liverpool say we're not going to bid again unless we get encouragement. That's basically what they're saying. What is encouragement? Newcastle sign a replacement striker. It's been this is how down bad Newcastle are. Hear me out. They said if they sign Wissa, they're going to go with Anthony Gordon and Wissa as their starting strikers this season. That's it.
I think Liverpool had encouragement already. I think the statement that Newcastle put out is encouragement.
That's
because
encouragement.
they basically said in there,
I agree.
If they meet evaluation, then we'll talk. And that's basically what it is. We don't know what the valuation is. No one knows. You know, it's a number that's been thrown out there mostly by journalists. But with the situation the way it is, if Liverpool put £130 million bid in after the Monday game, it's going to be hard for Newcastle to reject that, because with everything going on, the way Isak's acting, the statements that have been put out, you know, and also look, if a lot of that money's guaranteed, it helps them with PSR issues in the next 3 years, I believe. If a lot of that money's guaranteed, also if they have,
that's the point I was trying to make to Jerry. PSR matters, bro.
And Newcastle at this moment in time are going to have to overpay for a striker anyway, ain't they? We know this.
Yeah,
you know, it does. I think it don't matter if they got Isak or not, because where they are in the window, what club in Europe at the moment don't know that is Newcastle need a striker? So they're going to have to pay a premium. They're looking at a guy at Wolves. If they want him, it's going to be 60 million. Brentford now wants 60 million. So price is going up because Newcastle coming in knowing they need a striker. So even if they sell Isak, I don't think it matters too much in the market for them. But if they do sell Isak, they've got guaranteed money where they can go, right, we've got to overpay anyway. So at least we've got guaranteed money to do it. And plus, for the next few years, because of the guaranteed money, it helps us out PSR-wise in the next few years. So, in fact, Liverpool could buy their star player, but make Newcastle better long-term wise financially. But
they could kill. But the thing is, if they're not run correctly, they'll kill themselves. Though they'll kill themselves with that money.
And that's what Newcastle fans say.
They'll end up paying because everyone will know that they'll have money guaranteed from this Liverpool deal, right? So Brentford all of a sudden go, yeah, we want 75 for Wissa. And then Newcastle have to pay it. And then they get shafted by everyone. And then the players end up shit. Like, it doesn't work as simple as that. Like, they run crap. It is what it is. Like, unfortunately, they're in a position where they're in control. Liverpool, on the other hand, you either need a forward badly or you're just buying him just because. And in my opinion, it feels like they really, really want a forward. Right? That's why the Rodrygo links keep popping about. So if Liverpool need a forward, you need to go and pay that price if you want to get that player in. Because otherwise, you're not getting him. And that's going to be worse for the long run for Liverpool, because if we end up with Gakpo injured and Ekitike injured, we might have a forward line of Chiesa and Rio Nuoma running in the Champions League against PSG. That's a possibility.
Can I just mention two things on Isak, and I'm sure you probably want to end this talk as well about Isak now.
Yeah, after Kmack, I'll just read supers, then we'll talk about Monday Night
Two things I want to mention about Isak, and I know everyone's like, I know Eddie Howe came out.
We all know it ain't gonna be a football game, so I wasn't even lying
again. Like I'm sorry, but he's been let down by not just one section of Newcastle; it's the previous. So he got let down by the previous director of football. He's also been let down by Eddie Howe because Eddie Howe has been lying to everybody because Isak's had the conversations with him and then he denies it all. And now he's come out and said, oh, actually, it was all behind private. It's all private, that conversation. So Isak's been lied to by his own manager. He's been lied to by 2 directors of football. So he totally lost confidence in the club. So he's not playing for them again. That's a fact. All right. Whether he goes on strike, whether he puts in a transfer request, I don't know. Whether he does Article 17, I don't know. Okay. But everything that he's come out with, I'm never playing for the club again. That's what it seems like. And the next
everyone, before we move on, everyone just wish Tabang a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Tabang, in the chat.
Don't you have a Barcelona game to watch?
Wow. I actually said happy birthday, Tabang.
Liverpool will buy Alexander Isak for 138 million. I said it here. That's the number.
You know, Kmack, sometimes I feel like you're waffling, but sometimes I feel like you're saying the truth. So I don't know which one. Because
if it's a penny less, Kmack, I'm coming for your head. If it's a penny less.
So what if it's 137 million? Then what?
Oh, come
Then
on,
he's
wrong.
He's wrong. He said, remember, that's the figure. He's even put.
If you're going to be that exact, I'm going to hold you to your word. No. If you're going to be that exact,
listen, I'll give him plus minus 3 million. I think 135. I would say Kmack was right.
I ain't live with that.
141, I'd say Kmack was right.
No, but if he says 135, then 130, innit? Then it's like, where do you need to draw the line somewhere? The line.
No, I did draw the line. Plus minus 3 million.
130 million pounds gets it done.
I'd give him I'd be a million difference.
Total package.
But Jerry, you can't be shameless. If we buy him for 139, you cannot be a fraud and go like Kmack was wrong.
Well, he was because
Well,
he said
over 1 million.
No, but hold on. But if he says, but if we get him at 130, like, yeah, it's a rough figure, and I estimate if Liverpool buy him, it will be at that amount, right? But it will be between. But if he's telling me 138, not what within 130, if he's saying 138, I'm going to see 138.
Okay, you know what? Mike and Jerry convinced me.
I can live with that.
Exactly.
Mike and Jerry convinced me. I'm gonna give him only 2 million leeway. So I'm gonna give him either.
You're thinking about it. Thinking,
No. Listen, it has to be 136 to 140. Then I want.
This is the way over/under works in Vegas.
Yeah, over/under plus 2 million each way. I'm good with that. Anyway, let me just grab these supers before we move on. Talk about the wrestling match we're gonna have this Monday. Big up to all of you guys. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Guys, we're not even at 500 likes yet. You get me? Jerry has to be up early in the morning. Mike is here moaning again. Jamie's controlling himself. Kmack is making up transfer numbers. This is the elite Liverpool show that you guys love. There's a reason why there's 1,600 people of you here. Close the live chat and hit the like button.
It's free. 8 million. Get 500.
It's free. How can we not be at 600, 700 likes already? Everyone hit the like button, subscribe. Let's go. These 2 guys on the right are literally stating realities, facts. The rest of you guys are being clinically delusional. Big up for bigging up Jerry and Mike. I appreciate it. However, none of us are being delusional because transfer windows are about speculating and reading between the lines. I looked at Isak's statement. I looked at what Craig Hope said. I looked at all the different narratives and I formed my own opinion. And you're welcome to disagree with it, by the way. I actually enjoy more when people disagree with it.
So if Liverpool buy Isak for 130 million, does everyone go apologise? If Liverpool don't buy Isak for 130 million, I'll just say, like I said just now, if we don't buy him, we don't buy him, we move on. Simple as that.
Yeah, we pivot to a different player.
No, but that's the point. We have to pivot because if we wait till deadline day to put the bid in and it don't materialize, then that's like I said, therapy is going to start because.
All I'm saying is that at a certain point, the buck has to stop. We got to stop sitting on our hands, and we have to start looking out for our own interest. And it's August 22nd. I mean, if we get just Guehi, I'm still confident. But if I get neither, and I'm just left with what I have, and other people strengthen, I don't know.
It'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious if we pivoted to Vissa.
No, that's Liverpool, and I wouldn't mind that, but that would be Liverpool
anyway.
Yeah, we're absolutely taking the piss, 100%. Because Wissa ain't even in Liverpool's like age range that we like to buy. You know,
buy him for 5 million, and he'll show up 5 times.
There would genuinely be no need for us to buy Wissa. Like there actually is no need. Like
no.
That's just us.
Just go get Strand Larson.
Go get Mateta.
I honestly, he can play left, he can play right, he can play
He's a good player, but I honestly think it's Isak or nobody. So
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah, I think our pivot is.
I just want to
Rodrygo.
get Guehi. I mean, like Guehi
Million.
and my floor is met. Guehi and my floor is met. Isak
no, like
is-
for a striker. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think if we don't get Isak, Liverpool won't buy another striker because I think
We'll buy Rodrygo.
Yeah, but we won't
have
buy
to.
another striker. We'll
Yeah,
buy
I
a
agree.
player.
Cody would end up being the backup 9.
I think Liverpool see Isak as their number 9. So if they don't buy him in the summer, they'll try in January. And
We'll try again in January and get him for cheaper
Alright.
anyway.
If
But you want to know why I say the
Liverpool
Rodrygo
forward-
thing just quickly? I actually think Slot is obsessed with the way PSG play ball. I won't even lie to you. Now
Of course
we
he
can't.
is.
You cannot replicate this with Gakpo. You can't. I understand 100% because you need like a certain Salah can replicate it to an extent. Even Salah
You can't
like,
replicate it, man. You can't replicate it.
No,
You can't.
he can. He can with
Oh.
playing up top. If you put him up top, like you put him striker,
Really?
I think
Really?
he can do
Because
a little bit what Dembele does up top.
His passes are
As the
religious.
finisher and with his passing. Dribbling, no, I know that. But I'm saying, like, look, if we pull up to a stadium with Rodrygo up top, Gakpo on the left, and Salah on the right, is that even bad? Like, that's low key. Like, that's okay. That's a good front.
I would swap it, but yeah.
No, I like it. I just think, like I said, if we get Rodrygo, I'm comfortable with that. My worry is Liverpool. Going to Jamie's point, Liverpool just don't get a forward at all.
Yeah,
I
then
think-
you're right. Therapy time.
I do think if Liverpool got Rodrygo, it'd be Rodrygo, Ekitike, and Salah.
I mean, I'm comfy with that. Like, I'm
Same,
cool.
Jamie.
If we
Ekitike
get
is a
forward,
baller. You can just tell. You can tell.
Yeah.
But
He's
you know what?
guys
But it could be anyone. It could be the
That's
equivalent of
amazing.
It
You
could
can't
be
just
the
say
equivalent
comfy.
of
That's
Remember,
like
guys,
elite, bro.
Remember, we did score 86 goals with one of our strikers being out for 3/4 of the season and the other one not being able to hit the broadside of a barn. So we did win a league without a striker.
Mike
I'm
insulted
just gonna-
Nunes.
I do.
Watch
I'm
how
just-
he gets real fidgety when he insults Nunes. Like he don't really mean it deep down. The chat will know what
Bro,
I'm saying.
come on,
Like,
Nunes was
insults
garbage.
him, but
Nunes was garbage.
I feel
He was
like
garbage.
his soul like
He was
feels bad
garbage,
about it.
except against Brentford. He was garbage.
I
except
actually think there's only 2 strikers in this market Liverpool would buy, and that's either Alexander Isak or Alvarez from Atletico Madrid.
Yeah,
I don't think Liverpool would look at any other striker because I don't think they're looking at that market now.
You know what?
If
If
Alvarez's
Liverpool
wife
got
didn't hate
Alvarez,
the cold weather, he would have been a Liverpool player. So
if we got Alvarez, I'd
He'd
actually
link
be
better.
more happy than with this Isak
link.
deal. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
100%.
I'd be like,
I'd
wow,
way rather.
that's the
I'd
one.
way rather
This
have
Isak-
Alvarez and
This Isak
Rodrygo.
thing where we're getting his ego a bit too excited. He's now. Who do you think he is? Just relax, relax. You need to come.
okay,
and become
Jerry,
someone.
let me tell you one thing. I think after Monday, this is my scenario. Okay, this is my hypothetical. We're all going to be sat there watching Liverpool versus Newcastle, and then we'll all of a sudden see Richard Hughes in the stands. And you know how transfers works. Tuesday morning, the executives met after the game and they came to an agreement. Like that's genuinely, I feel like we're being played, and they've already agreed it.
Well, that Newcastle channel I was on the other day that he was watching, so one of the Newcastle fans on there actually believes that's the case.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
already.
I think we're all being
Well,
played.
that would
and
be
it's
that would
already
be
done.
the most logical scenario.
It
That would be
wouldn't.
the most
It
logical.
wouldn't shock me if we got news as soon as the game ended.
Yeah.
Genuinely, by the way, genuinely.
It wouldn't shock me at all.
Once Sky Sports leaves the arena,
It'd be funny if they did one of those. You know, one of those Premier League in the dressing room at halftime.
and Isak is holding up his jersey, ready to go.
Or is
like
that in here with us?
Do you think Liverpool? Yeah, just putting it out there. Do you think Liverpool would sacrifice the game at Newcastle?
No.
Do you think they went to Newcastle and said,
No.
"We'll lose that game, but we'll get
Fuck
Isak"?
no. Fuck
No.
Under no circumstance are we dropping points willingly.
And
Absolutely.
look, if the Newcastle like higher ups are basing them selling Isak based off of a result, then they're worse than I ever thought.
Yeah,
bro.
serious.
I know, but imagine exactly. But
We're not dropping points there either. We're not going there for a draw or a loss. We're not dropping.
Imagine Slot
Going
just
there
said
for a
to
wrestling
Virgil.
match.
Just said to Virgil, just look, Isak's.
I don't know about that, Hussam. Really, I'm excited to
He's the
talk about the
coach.
game. I don't know about that.
The fact that they don't get 130 for him in years' time, if he is half-arsed this season, they lose a massive value on him. That's the big picture. This is my breakdown.
Huge value.
Isak stays until January, we get him for 100 in January. Isak stays until May, we get him for 90 in May. Genuinely, that's my honest breakdown of the situation. And make of that what you wish.
Lose for him.
Can I mention something
Oh
on
my
the
God.
Rodrygo one? Can I mention something on the Rodrygo one?
Yeah.
That one really does baffle me a bit, because we all know that we didn't want to sell Diaz. We all know that. Like,
Yeah.
we tried our hardest not to sell him. That was one that got away that we probably didn't want to happen. But it's the fact that we got rid of Doak. Like, that one baffles me, like, because we are light. We are winger light, 100%. Like, Bento can play left and right. And he didn't have a bad
I think the
preseason.
club looked at Rio and Doak and said, which one's the more talented? Rio. Let's keep Rio.
I don't
Let's
think
sell
he's
Doak.
going to play Rio. I just don't think he's going to play Rio.
I think he will, but you can't. At this moment in time, given the emotion of the game against Bournemouth, given the fact that you were going to a wrestling game this Monday, and given the fact that we play Arsenal on the first Premier League game, I think it would have been nuts to claim Rio could play. Could Rio come on against Arsenal for like 10 minutes?
Community Shield, though, he could have come on against Palace.
Yeah.
Gakpo
That's what
and
I was
Salah
saying,
were
Jerry.
having
That's what I was
mess.
saying.
He
The
did
problem-
not get looked at once. He didn't even warm up properly. He still
Nah,
had the tracksuit bottoms on.
The problem with the Rio thing, say Liverpool go and get a left-sided attacker, yeah. Because I hear a lot of people back wanting Rio to play, but also people online are saying Liverpool need a left winger. So Liverpool are getting a left winger, Rio's not going to play, right?
Yeah.
So I worry. I'm not going to lie. I do worry about Rio's future a little bit.
Too early for me. Because he
if
already is going to get a lot more game time than he will ever get at Chelsea. Minimum, he's going to get Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and a dead Champions League game. Minimum.
No, maybe at Chelsea, right? But someone like Rio will look at Jude Bellingham. You will look at this player, Lemao, and think they are playing. I could go somewhere and play, right? So if Liverpool have told him, oh look, we're not signing a left foot. This is what Paul Joyce said anyway. Liverpool consider Rio a first teamer now. He's gonna take care of like Diaz's thing. Exactly. I'm fine with that. My worry is he has not touched the pitch. He has not touched the pitch. So for me, I'm like, oh, you're not trusting him again. It's like last season when we were like, yeah, we've got loads of players, we've got loads of depth, we've got Elliott that could play here, but he just doesn't play. At that point, it's like he might as well consider him a player. He's not playing.
Jerry, what if Liverpool, say we buy Rodrygo, say in this world, somehow Liverpool bought Rodrygo and they got Rodrygo and Cody Gakpo, yeah? So say one of them are on the bench this season, because one of them will have to be, yeah? So say Gakpo's on the bench with Rio, yeah? Who does Slot look at to bring on?
Will be Gakpo. Of course it will.
So what I'm trying to say is, and this is not me hating on Rio, I love Rio and I want him to play football, yeah? Rio is going to be 17 soon, so he's still a young guy, so you've got to protect him, right? But if Liverpool want to buy marquee players and you want that heavy left-hand side, and then you get a Rodrygo and a Gakpo, Rio's barely going to play any games this season. I think we could all agree with that. Going into next season, be 17, going into 18, yeah? Unless you sell a Cody Gakpo next summer and you make Rio your second choice, Rio's not going to play football again next year. And then you get to a period in time where you're like, we love Rio and he's a talent, yeah? But he's barely played any minutes in 2 years. What do we do about it? So I love Rio. I think he's a superb player, and I hope he plays loads and loads of football. So this is me just thinking out loud on what the manager might do in the club.
I hear you. I think we'll get to it when we get to it with Rio. It'll be very interesting. Carabao Cup games and shit. We'll see what happens.
Playing them, playing them, no problem. Yeah.
Well,
big up to Donny who says, oh my God, Talk Sense here. Let me just get through these guys so we can talk about Newcastle game. Oh my God, Talk Sense here. He stays, he has no preseason and also has to integrate by November. Being the press again for January consistently is just interrupting their season. I agree. Listen, he don't leave this summer. In January, this bullshit's going to start all over again. And Jamie and myself and everyone have to talk about Isak for another 30 days straight. Trent ran down his contract. What if Isak signed his 6th year to maintain his value for the club and now they are... What does this mean? Re-engaging? I think maybe
they pulled away from the contracts.
Yeah, look, maybe Isak will have a release clause on his contract or something like that. You never know. I think time will tell. 10 years from now, inshallah, if we're all happy, safe, and healthy, Isak will be on a podcast somewhere saying all this. Big up to Mustafa says Newcastle fans calling Isak all sorts of names, but at the same time crying to return him to the squad and to play to 100% to score goals. Even Isak stays at Newcastle, I doubt he will play 100%. Yeah, he ain't gonna play. He'll play, but he won't play like 100%. Like he won't be like Alexander Isak. He'll be more like Alex. You know, that's what he'll be. Keeping Isak and not making Champions League would be a disaster. I agree. he can stay and sign a deal and put a Liverpool clause, is what Tandiz was saying. He can, but then that clause is going to be a lot cheaper, my brother. So instead of them getting 130 now and helping their PSR, they're going to get 90.
It makes no sense. Sometimes you have to sell a player when they're at their max valuation, right?
I agree.
Exactly, someone's at his max valuation. What people like, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, match the price." Yeah, Liverpool sells Luis Suarez. Liverpool are a bigger club than Newcastle. Yeah, even when Liverpool were not at their best back then, they were still bigger than Newcastle Football Club. They sold Luis Suarez. They've sold Fernando Torres. They've sold Coutinho. Man United sold Cristiano. I can't get his name out. Man United sold Ronaldo when he was a Ballon d'Or winner, to Real Madrid. Massive football clubs have sold massive players. Newcastle are no different to any other team in world football. And at this moment in time, his highest value is right now. If he doesn't sign a new contract, his valuation dips. And unfortunately for Newcastle, because of PSR and all that, financially, they're not like a Man United were or anything like that who could keep Ronaldo for a year and still get maximum valuation because they're a gigantic side, bringing in gigantic money, and Newcastle are not there yet. So this is the summer, if they're going to sell him. Otherwise, give him a new contract. What's the chances? I think there's more chances on Isak being sold this summer than him signing a new contract.
I agree.
There's a lot of work Newcastle have got to do behind the scenes as well. Still haven't done their training ground.
I agree. They still have a lot to do. And speaking of training ground and Newcastle and all this, I want us to preview the game a little bit, guys. We're just 10 likes away from 500 likes. Let's get there. That's our initial target. That's always the target. So please close the live chat, hit the like button. Mike Das is asked to go first for Newcastle game. So go ahead, Mike.
Never asked. I've never asked. But that's because I think that this Monday is a prime opportunity. I don't know here who watches UFC. I know that Jamie does. And I'm pretty sure Jamie watched that Lerone Murphy fight, right? Where Aaron Pico was wailing on him at the beginning and it looked like he was winning. And then in the post-fight interview after the spinning elbow, what did Murphy say? He said, I'm going to use his aggression against him. What we're going to face on Monday is the most aggressive Newcastle that we've ever seen. Remember last season, they were the better side in that game. We all know what happened with Kelleher at the back post, but they were overloading us in the midfield. Carabao Cup final, overloading us. I've seen a lot of people saying Dominic Szoboszlai at right back, all this stuff. I'm not saying that this is what I think Slot will do, but if I were Arne Slot, and I know that the chat's going to say, well, it's a good thing you're not and that you're an American, but regardless, I would start Joe Gomez. I would start Joe Gomez at right back. I would start Kirkez at left back. I would put Konate and Virgil in the middle. I would put Gravenberch directly in front of them. I would give a stern talking to Kirkez and say, you do not push forward. And I told Joe Gomez, you do not push forward. I dropped Cody Gakpo. I put in Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Wirtz. And then I put Ekitike and Salah at the top. You box the midfield like we did against Manchester City. You give us an extra outlet for the press that will be coming. And we use their aggressiveness against them. That's it. You have to play this first half pragmatic. Then that leaves you the option in the second half of if we're in the game, if we're up 1 or 2-0, then you can drop Szoboszlai to right back. You can bring on Endo to be your essential third center back with Ryan Gravenberch next to him. And all is well. I just think that we cannot play the occasion. We have to let them use the aggression and we have to use it against them. And the best way to do that is to add an extra midfielder because it's the only proven way that I have seen us be able to handle a press. Other teams like Brighton, Southampton, they gave us issues in the press. Newcastle, right? When we see that midfield three, even when it was McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai, they would get overloaded all of the time. And the second we brought in Curtis Jones and we dropped one of the forwards, all of a sudden we had an extra outlet. We could deal with the pressure. To me, that is the formula to this game. If you don't want to start McAllister because of fitness levels, that's fine. Then just put Endo on and then swap them later on. I don't really care. I think you have to come into this game with 4 midfielders. However you want to make that up, that's totally up to you. Kirkez can't be bombing up and down the pitch. And Joe Gomez, I know he will listen to Slot. If Slot tells Joe Gomez, don't pass the halfway line, Joe Gomez is not passing the halfway line. We need to have 3 back at all times. No stupid possession losses in the final third. And a way to do that is to box up the midfield and keep one of those guys back. You ain't gonna make mistakes if I have less options. You're gonna play more pragmatic. And there's nothing that they can do. Their front line doesn't scare me. Anthony Gordon doesn't scare me. But what does scare me is us being over aggressive and having a Bournemouth situation where instead of shooting, Mohamed Salah tries to pass it. Dominic Szoboszlai tries a stupid flick while being double teamed, and then it's a 3-on-2. And it doesn't matter who you have. If it's a 3-on-2, you're pretty likely to get a good opportunity. So
I think two things. I agree with what you're saying. I would swap Twerkers out for Robbo.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want Kmack.
Did you just say Twerkers?
Yeah, I've never liked him. Even last season, I didn't. I liked Nuri better. But it is what it is. We've got him. He works hard. He's a nice guy. But yeah. So he twerked for Liverpool. That's why I call him Twerkers. But anyway, so yeah. I'm going, yeah.
Jerry, wasn't he in the PFA team?
He was. No, he was.
But I'm just checking.
No, he was. I just didn't like him.
Or he wasn't, was he?
No, he wasn't.
Was he? No, okay.
I just didn't like him. Am I not allowed to have an opinion, Kmack? Or are you getting upset?
Checking, that's all. Just checking.
Checking what?
He wasn't picked by us. He was picked by other players.
100%. And I'm saying my opinion. I didn't like him as a player. It's like what? Like all right.
He played against his old team, like as his first game. Like
and I'm saying I didn't like him as a player.
I want experience. I want experience in heated situations in this game.
That's fair enough, mate. He's only 21. He's not experienced.
100%. He can improve and all of that. I just don't really like him, and he twerked for Liverpool, so I called him Twerkers, and that's what it is. I agree with that. I actually think Robbo will be better because I just think he'd tuck in a bit more. Like he won't be as gung ho as that's not his game at the moment. At this moment in time, like we saw last season. I think the worry is Newcastle play on the counter attack. I think
maybe
Newcastle the pace of Elanga and Gordon. We saw what Semenyo could do against us, and if that whole midfield dynamic isn't sorted out. Do you know what I mean? We get caught on the counter, and that's the problem. But I expect Liverpool to win this game and win it like 2-3-1 though. I actually don't. I know people are talking about like this fight and all of that. If they go and do that, and you try to be aggressive with Liverpool, you open yourselves up.
Bruno G is going to get it. He's going to get a fucking red card.
You have to be really compact. Like Liverpool are too good. Liverpool are too good to do that. So you have to be very measured with how you go and do it. And if Newcastle go into that full of emotion, first 5-10 might be mad. But I don't know if anyone watched the Chelsea game with West Ham. Where West Ham first 5-10, West Ham scored a goal, looked great. They're not losing 5-1 because they just opened up. And I think we could open up Newcastle like that because we'll realise quickly, they don't have a threat because they can't score goals. But it's the pace that can cause a problem. So
yeah, I agree with Jerry, man. I hear what Michael's saying. Michael, I called you Michael. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, it's because my brother-in-law's called Michael, and that's why it just crossed my mind. No, I agree with both of you guys saying the way. I think Newcastle will set up with 5 in midfield and won't play anyone through the middle and just play 2 wide players that are tucked in, like wide centre forwards to play in the counter attack. The problem is they'll want to set up like that and bring Liverpool onto them and try and take advantage of Liverpool's weaknesses. Yeah, but the problem is that crowd might be so volatile that they change the players on the pitch go with the fans in the ground and start to be more aggressive than Eddie Howe maybe want. Because sometimes players just react and it's a natural thing, and the crowd are going to be so up for it. Because the Newcastle fans, for some reason, feel hard done by, and they go put that onto the players. So Eddie Howe's tactic might be 5 in across the middle, play 2 wide guys, but more narrow, so they're sort of like wide centre forwards, and play in that counter attack and expose Liverpool in what Bournemouth could expose them to. But then, because the crowd will get so rolled up and the atmosphere, they could start being a bit more aggressive, coming out of positions, trying to press the ball to get that, like from the atmosphere and stuff like that. And if they mistime one of them things, Liverpool could be one of the best teams in Europe at counter-pressing them situations. So, and that's where Liverpool can take advantage. I also think Ekitike is going to play a very important role.
Just on that emotional thing, do we think Newcastle are way more likely to play the occasion than us? Do we agree?
Yeah, that's right.
100%. That's why I want 4 midfielders, because even if they pack the midfield with 5, give me an extra option. Like Cody Gakpo, he's not going to hold up play and slow the game down. Like, I would rather put Curtis Jones in there, who's going to make sure that Wirtz isn't the one who's taken the monster from Joelinton. And also Curtis Jones threw a punch for me. So, like, this is the guy that I want to be in this game.
Curtis Jones in this game is not a bad idea, specifically given the fact he can get someone sent off by molesting the ball for 45 minutes. I think just by keeping the ball, he'd get. Bro, I'll be honest with you. Like, everyone's talking about like play the game, not the occasion. I think we're actually good at that. Newcastle aren't.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
They're going to be very.
I think he's going to go with 4.
It would not shock me whatsoever
if
if they actually have more than even one sending off.
the thing is about this game is Arne Slot already told us how it's going to go. He's already told us. He said that Gravenberch, McAllister in midfield, they're going to have more grit and they're going to be able to protect the back four more. He's going to be playing either Conor Bradley or Joe Gomez at the back. Like, he's not going to play.
Bradley's fit.
He mentioned him as like the third, but he's probably going to split it between the two of them, maybe 45 minutes each. Joe Gomez had to miss one of the training sessions, so he's being rested anyway for that game. And he makes a lot of sense because when he came on against Bournemouth, he was strong. Like, he won the header, which got us to the Endo assist. So that works. And there was no protection on the back four because we had too many offensive midfielders just pushing forward. Gravenberch is really good at tracking runners, and he's also got the energy. And he also hasn't played a game as well. So he's going to be match fit more than the others are still. And look, Newcastle are going to play the occasion. They're at home. They're proper riled up. There's going to be all kinds of chanting in the ground. There's going to be loads of build-up before it. Like, they are going to be really up for this game.
It's the only game on that day.
Honestly, Ekitike and Wirtz are going to destroy them. They're going to destroy them because Wirtz knows that he's had a lot of slack. He's had a lot of grief online about him.
I actually think Wirtz is made for games like this.
Being that player, and Ekitike has got a point to prove. He's got a point to prove still because we're after the
striker. Ekitike is the only one that could score and then drop the Isak celebration as well.
If he done
I will throw my monitor. I will throw my monitor.
There are two people who could do it in our whole team, in my opinion. Curtis Jones and Ekitike. Yep.
Curtis Jones will fight someone. Curtis Jones will straight up box on the
two
center
shit
line.
houses.
That's why I want him. That's why I would rather play Curtis Jones in the midfield than Cody Gakpo, because I know Curtis Jones will die for me, and I know that.
I think Curtis Jones plays right back.
No.
Yeah, I
think Curtis Jones will play right back.
I think it will because what Liverpool.
Yeah, but go based off preseason. He played Szoboszlai right back in preseason when no one was fit.
He did, but I think he put Szoboszlai in there for the energy and for build up. Curtis Jones is better because he can keep it. So to your point, right, to Kmack's point about not having any of that cover, if Curtis Jones is just moving into infield, right, all that happens is you've got a player there that not only can run and can defend.
You've got Elanga bombing down.
Yeah, you have Elanga bombing down on the other side, but that's where I spoke about having Robbo there. If you're tucked in and you've got those players, you've got to get the ball to them, right? So they need space. If there's no space, if you can congest that space, you'll be fine.
But there is one point on. Okay, so when we talk about the pace that they had, when Arne Slot was in the post game presser talking about both goals, especially the second goal. Like, there's no way that over the last 10 days he has not been hammering this point home. Especially the second goal comes because we don't make the smart decision. We force the pass rather than taking the shot. And then if it goes for a goal kick, it's just a goal kick and there is no counterattack. I expect these guys to be smart. Like, if Newcastle want to play counterattacking ball, then I'm expecting really slow, really patient build up, nothing stupid.
They won't play
forced.
counterattack. They won't.
No. I know, but all I'm trying to say is
the first 10 minutes, they will try to knock us out in the first 10 minutes. Like you mentioned the UFC thing, like they're gonna have to try to do like Conor on
use it against them. Spinning elbow. Just lull them to sleep. Spinning elbow. Boom. Over.
I mean that's fine, but the problem you have with Newcastle, and this is what potentially could happen, right? Is Newcastle do that high energy press or whatever. All of a sudden, there's a corner. Dan Burn comes up, wins his header against McAllister.
McAllister's not allowed to. He's not allowed to mark him.
And McAllister marking him again, or whatever it is, right? But let's say they go a goal up. That's where it will become a problem because they will sit in like they did in the Carabao Cup and hit us on the counter. And the pace that they've got right now, I know we speak about, them not having Isak, but Jacob Murphy's a problem on the counter attack. Elanga's a problem on the counter attack, and Gordon's a problem on the counter attack. That pace already is going to cause a lot of problems.
Jerry, they've got a 33-year-old centre back and a 34-year-old centre back who've got no legs, and we have Ekitike and Wirtz. They're toast.
100%. 100%. If they go up, they're toast. If they narrow up and make it really, really narrow, they're protected. They'll be fine. Like
they tried to do it against Villa, but Villa haven't got the pace. They haven't got the pace really. Watkins isn't that fast.
Yeah, okay, but what Jerry is saying is true though. Like what's most important is that we just don't make a mistake in the first 10 to 15 minutes. Like it doesn't matter how we set up. What's most important is that everyone knows, hey, there are no risks. Unless Ekitike is by himself and there's no one within 20 yards and you want to try to thread the needle, fine. But outside of that, it's behind the ball, it's patience, and it's no stupid mistakes. If they want to do something world-class and have a, Paqueta goal from 35 yards, I mean, listen, albeit it provides some energy, but West Ham didn't do shit outside of that one shot. If we get beat like that, we get beat like that. But we're not allowing Anthony Gordon to run with the ball for 40 yards and play one on the deck. You're going to have to beat us.
Liverpool's biggest problem, right, is before Jamie goes. Liverpool's biggest problem is being able to go and be patient on the ball and keep it. The biggest difference between we speak about PSG and we speak about this is that PSG have, whether it's the personnel or it's the tactics or whatever it is, they keep it for so long and they move it. And there's no talk about and there's no talk about someone holding on to it for too long. It's just keep, and everyone's on the same wavelength. And all of a sudden they score a goal, right? Liverpool are a bit more direct in how they go and operate, which means, right? And Slot speaks about he's still quite similar to Klopp, is that you're being very, very direct with how you go and play. So yeah, it's scintillating going forward, but it means you give the ball away. So to your point, Salah there could have easily just gone, kept the ball, I'm going to pass all the way back to Virgil, we're one goal up or whatever, and we're going to keep it. Liverpool don't play like that. So he goes and tries to play the risky 1-2, loses the ball, and ultimately they go and counter and score. That's where the biggest difference is. If Liverpool can keep it, we're cool. We're cool. Like we're a better footballing team than them. We just need to keep the ball. It's IQ.
That's what Slot did.
All we need.
That's what he did when we scored.
Yeah, 100%. But again, it's all here. Like I'm telling you right now, it's just none of this stupid bullshit with 8 men in front of the ball. Just be patient. Like we can break them down, especially with Wirtz. Get through the first 15 to 20 minutes, box up the midfield. If they're pressing the shit out of us, go long. I don't care. Just nothing against me. And then let them tire out, work through the game, let Ekitike find his moments. But again, I'm sure that this is what has been the thing. They probably examined the goals and the chances that we have conceded against Bournemouth for the last 10 days. And Slot's probably picked it apart and said, Mo, you should have just passed it back to Endo. Endo vacated his position. You didn't have to play it to Szoboszlai. Endo would have kicked it right back to Virgil. Simple. So
no one's going to agree what I'm going to say, yeah, but it is what it is. I want Liverpool to play quite similar how they played against Bournemouth.
Yeah, me too.
But this time they got McAllister and Gravenberch in the middle, which is completely different. It's a complete. Well, Liverpool are a completely different team when Gravenberch and McAllister are playing in that double pivot area, because I believe Gravenberch had one of the highest assists for a midfielder and a DM in the league last year. That's so important. When you haven't got that and you play the ball against Bournemouth how we did, and you haven't got Gravenberch, you'll go to lose a lot of transitional play. Look, Liverpool always going to be risky. People have got to hear this out. The way Slot wants to play, the way Klopp wanted to play and all that, it's still risky football because they do want a lot of men advancing up the pitch. Because what Slot wants to do, he wants to play all the football in the opposition's half. To do that, you have to have players getting forward in advanced areas, yeah. But what you need players. I don't think Gravenberch will get that attacking. I think he will sit back more, and there's that player there sitting just in front of Virgil and Kanate, he can break up some of the transitional play. I like, look, people hate the way we played against Bournemouth. We didn't have our strongest 11 out.
I didn't remember.
know,
I didn't.
I love the way we played against
I
Bournemouth.
liked
We
it
just didn't have our strongest 11 out. You put our strongest 11 out playing that way, Liverpool score shitloads of goals. Are we going to concede goals playing that way? Yes. Right? We might win a game 3-1 when everyone wants a clean sheet. Do I care? No. We're very risk averse. That's what we are. You've got to be risk averse to score the amount of goals you want to score, yeah? PSG are risk averse, by the way. People talk a lot about PSG, right? PSG get caught in a counter-attack a heck of a lot, right? It's just that a lot of teams don't take advantage. When Liverpool played PSG in the first leg, they battered us. But we caught them on the counter-attack and won 1-0. We took advantage of them and the way they played and caught them in transition and went and won that game 1-0, right? That's the way a lot of these top teams want to play. They want to play in the opposition half. That means you've got to have a lot of players in that half to play that way and keep the ball there. What Liverpool need to do better at is controlling through the middle of the pitch. If they can control better, don't forget, a lot of people said Ryan Gravenberch was the best player in the league from summer till January last season. Everyone was saying he's the best DM, he's the best midfielder in the league from summer till January. After January, he burnt out and he couldn't quite do the levels that he was at. If we got that Gravenberch playing that kind of way, we're going to be defensively better in transition. That's where I'm.
One thing I will say as well. One thing I will say is,
yes,
it was 1.6 XG against us in that game at home, and they scored 2 goals. Last season, they got 1.86 XG against us, and they didn't score. It was a really similar game, but they just didn't put the chances away. That's how Liverpool play. We just have to deal with it. Like, if everyone thinks we're going to be shit, and they thought that was a shit game, well, we scored 4 goals. And people say Salah was rubbish, and this was rubbish, and that was rubbish. We scored 4 goals.
Kike missed a free header.
Like, there was 2 sitters that were missed in that game. One was by Mo, one was by Ekitike.
Yeah, you score them. No one's
6.
talking about tactics. The tactics are right. We just didn't take advantage.
Bro, we're high risk, high reward. This is how we play. I'm over this whole like cry.
Would you rather play the Liverpool way or the art?
What's in that game was free.
I'd rather play the Liverpool way. I don't even finish that question.
I don't want to play. When I say 4 midfielders, I'm not saying that I want to play pragmatic. Like, I know that we're going to keep trying to press forward. I would just rather have an extra midfielder to deal with the press, and then also to help with.
No, I know you're not saying that, but Jamie's talking about the way that we play against Bournemouth. People complain about it.
For sure. But I think that we can play the same way we did against Bournemouth and just swap out Cody Gakpo for Curtis Jones. We can do the same thing.
Like Promo saying we don't control games. Big up my man Promo. In the first half of last season, we controlled all our games up till January. After that, when the team got tired, when our team got extremely tired because he didn't rotate, that's when we did stop controlling games. So the first half of the season, if you look at it, we controlled. That's why we're flying at the top of the league. Because we're controlling performances. It's only from January onwards when the team was tired. So I do think we can control games. We're not the masters of it. Like Pep Guardiola's the master of controlling a game because that's the way he plays. Yeah, Arteta controls game by playing because he plays a more pragmatic style, but a controlling, counter-controlled style. Liverpool are just. By the way, if anyone watched the City Wolves game, if Wolves have better players, they're probably scoring 2 or 3 themselves. So
before City scored,
it's all the best teams in the world are the most attacking teams. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, disagree.
Okay, Robertson today is a memory. The moment Karkas came off, Robbo was getting cooked. Karkas is miles better at the moment. Arnie masterclass incoming.
That's bullshit, right? So if anyone watched that game. If anyone watched that game, Kirkhead's got cooked the whole game. What are we doing?
Yeah. Also, wait, just very quickly, by a show of hands here and in the chat, who believes that Robertson has the pace to keep up with Semenyo even at the halfway line? Just saying, if Robertson and Semenyo were in the same exact spot on the halfway line, what are the odds that he doesn't get beat for pace?
They're both
No,
real.
I'm just saying. No, but I'm just saying
Damage
he wouldn't be in that.
Really?
He wouldn't have been in that spot.
Semenyo wouldn't have been able to get to the ball because Kirkes would have been there.
Guys, I think
Kirkes-
Robertson's
Kirkes-
shit. We have to get over it.
Kirkes
Newcastle will
wasn't there
get
at all,
2 red
though.
cards. We get the 3 points. Is what
Kirkes got a
Akira's
yellow
saying.
card. Like,
Guys, let's not argue over
Don't
Kirkes.
tackle.
Let's not have another Kirkes debate.
he-
Listen,
he was
Jamie Phillips
hot-headed.
football
He was
chats,
hot-headed
Mike
'cause
Das
he was getting
LFC,
rinsed.
Kmack channel, and Jerry's channel are all in the description. Make sure you guys give them all a subscribe. We're gonna redirect you guys over to James Redman because he's back. He's currently live.
Bloody
So go
hell.
tell him. Yep, go tell him Hussam raid in the chat. Go subscribe to
Wow.
all these guys'
If
channels.
you,
Thank
if
guys
you
so
do
much
want
for-
to, you can also go and check out my deep dive into the whole Isak drama.
Yes, of course. You can go check that out. Kmack channel is in the description.
Sometime.
We're gonna redirect you over to James Redman TV. Go tell him Hussam raid, and I'm see you guys on the other side. Peace out.